Hello and welcome to an album a day, day 97, going through my vinyl collection, an album or two at a time. Today we have something special because it's not very often that I find live albums that I really like to listen to. This was the very first one that I ever owned. I tie it to a particular Christmas. I don't know exactly what year it was, but it would have been somewhere in the early 80s, and became a huge fan of this band. This was the first band that I went and actually collected their entire back catalog, led me to another band, which would be a much bigger catalog that I would collect and have covered many times on this show. We're talking, of course, about the 1977 live album from Rainbow, On Stage. Slipcover's got some stuff, or the cover has some stuff on it, so I'll show you that in a second. This was just part of the vinyl covering here, but this one is really special because I appreciate live albums, and there are certain bands that I think you can capture live, and it's important because they're very different from the way they are in the studio. But that being said, live music has typically faster tempos. Music, even pop music, unless it's programmed to a click like it is nowadays, where it's the actual tempo from the album, it just tends to be very much alive. Like, you need to be in the room to understand why it's as aggressive as it is. And it doesn't necessarily translate for me listening to it aside from being in the room. Now, if there's concert footage of a show I've been to, or at least a tour I've been on, I can understand that emotion and that level of intensity to a certain extent, where I could probably enjoy the album. The Grand Bonnet Band is going to be putting out a DVD from the show that I was at the Whiskey, and I'm really looking forward to that. I was there. I understand why the songs were played the way they were. I can recapture that energy in the room, so to speak. So for me, live albums are a little bit of a disconnect in general, but this one brings me right back to that, whatever year that was, that particular Christmas. This was on heavy rotation. The only thing it's missing, really, and I don't know if he was doing it at that time or if it would be a little bit later. No, it wasn't too much later, where Cozy Powell, we don't have the 1812 Overture big drum solo. That's the only thing that I would say is probably missing, but I do have an actual 1977 Oyster Polydor copy. And of course, this is a double vinyl. So, but I have to take the first one out to show you the cover. So I do have both vinyls. They're in excellent condition. They sound fantastic. I love a little bit of hiss and static on this. So here's the full cover. Obviously, a shot of them on stage with the huge rainbow. The lineup on this one would have Tony Carey on keyboards, who has become a good friend and a really cool guy. I've interviewed him a couple of times on the Haskincast podcast. Very solid. Interestingly, he said, I never play the same thing twice. So every solo of his is very individual, and I'm sure there's some similarities over time between them because you're going to feel music a certain way. But in any case, fantastic soloing on this. Excellent playing from everybody. Love him, especially on Still I'm Sad. So we've got, it opens with Kill the King. It opens with the Somewhere Over the Rainbow thing, and then Kill the King. Then we go into Man on the Silver Mountain. Now, this version of Man on the Silver Mountain is the way I think I heard the song first. So when I got Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow, it was like, wow, this song is so mellow, because the live version is very, very aggressive. Blues, probably my least favorite on here because I'm just not a big fan of blues, but it's still it's a good song. There's some really nice playing on it. Starstruck from Rising, absolutely killer. Catch the Rainbow takes up side 2. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. Side 3, we go to Mistreated. And the only thing that's weird about that is that you've got like all this bluesy stuff like right in a row. And then side 4, killer version of 16th Century Greensleeves. And then we go into Still I'm Sad, an 18-minute and 40-second side with just those two songs. Both of them are fantastic. This whole album, honestly, is just amazing for me. So many great memories associated with it. So on the back, we have the little Rainbow Fist logo and some information about the songs and the album, of course. And then on the inside of the gatefold, we've got this wonderful picture. And I can't remember if the sleeves are generic or not. Yes. There might be versions that come with printed sleeves, but I think the original copy I had too, I think was also just plain white. Oh. So for the second one, we have these pictures of the band. And these look familiar, so maybe my first one did have this, or maybe these were on the inside, but I remember like Ronnie sitting on the phone. I remember Jimmy Bain with the headphones and all that. So of course we've got Ronnie James Dio on vocals, Richie Blackmore on guitar, Cozy Powell on drums, Tony Carey on keys, and Jimmy Bain on bass. Killer lineup, obviously would change for Long Live Rock and Roll, where my friend David Stone came in and played some songs. Tony Carey was also on part of that. Bob Daisley came in for that lineup, although it's been argued that Bob didn't play on the album at all, that he was actually on the live tour, but Richie recorded all the bass. It gets crazy with with knowing the reality behind some of that. It also was just a really weird time in the band, but excellent music, and that's what matters the most. So yeah, Rainbow on stage, check it out, guys. Some killer stuff from 1977. Much like Deep Purple, this band was very good in the studio, and live they were just on fire and exciting and dramatic and real true performers. So well worth a listen. I hope you guys like it. There are a couple of other live albums that I do listen to that we'll get to. I think I already did Made in Japan, if I'm not mistaken. But the little bit of live stuff that I listen to, we'll get to all of that here pretty soon. But in the meantime, you guys have a fantastic day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.